Alrighty guys, how's it going out there? Rooster in 10, roostercb.com. Taking a look today at the Ameritron AL82, and it is without a doubt my favorite mass-produced two-tube 500Z amp ever made. I think as far as Ameritron amps go, the finest amps they ever made were probably this one, the AL1200, which runs the 3CX1200 tube, the AL1500, which runs the 3CX1500 tube, and the AL80, which runs a single 500Z. To me, some of the best amps that Ameritron ever made, and those four are the ones that I would recommend someone getting if you're going to get an Ameritron amp. But this one is my pick of the litter. Does not do quite the power of a 1500, but the 1500 is a significantly more expensive tube. And to me, the 500Zs are probably just a little bit more rugged if you're somebody that isn't cautious about overdriving. The tubes, it does have two of them in there, you guys can see. Do have chimneys on them, which make the tubes run a little bit cooler versus amps that don't. You don't have to have the glass chimneys around the 500Zs, but it does help them run a little bit cooler. Super heavy duty amp. They actually use the same transformer, plate transformer, in the AL82 as they do the 1500. And as you guys know, you really don't need but an amp to run the pair of 500Zs here. So really just a robust built amp. And this one will be for sale, local pickup only. And if it doesn't sell, I will certainly keep this one and use it on the ground plane to talk every day on, and also use it as a driver if needed there. So really just like this amp. Can't say enough good about it. It does operate off a foot pedal. You guys can see me key it up there. I'm just keying it with my foot. And the way you want to operate any amp that has a foot pedal, you want the amp to be the first thing you key, and then the last thing that you let off of. So you key your big amp, and then key your radio and your driver, and then you unkey your radio and driver, and then you let off your big amp. So key the amp, radio, driver, unkey your radio and driver, unkey the big amp, okay? A lot of people you'll see out there will key their radio, and then they'll key the amp afterwards, and that's called hotkeying, and that will eventually tear the relays out of the amp. It'll burn the relay up. Has operate and standby, which I don't really see the purpose in because you have a foot pedal, so it's not going to key without the foot pedal, or unless you have a keyer built into your radio, you can run that patch cable that would normally be for the foot pedal. You can run that back to your radio and key it that way, but it does have it. Also has sideband, which again, I'm assuming that you'd only use the sideband if you're using a radio with a keyer. You wouldn't necessarily need that if you're using the foot pedal on AM, because you're going to be manually keying it anyway. And on this amp in particular, there is no difference in plate voltage between sideband and CW. Something like a Heath kit, when you go to sideband, the voltage increases. Speaking of, you guys can see it idles about 3,600 volts. And then on the key, it'll go down to about 3,300 volts. And that's your multimeter settings. You can set it up however. Probably the most people are either going to run it right here to watch their high voltage, or they'll run it right here to make sure that you're not drawing too much current. Now, as far as that goes, when you're looking at plate current on one of these, top scale is what you're going to be looking at. 250 is basically a quarter of an amp. 500 is going to be half an amp. 750, 3/4, and then 1,000 will be 1 amp. The max amount of current that you want these tubes to draw is 1 amp. You do not want to go over 1 amp. As a matter of fact, if you're running them at 1 amp, you're running them at absolute max power. So just to show you guys, before we show the output on this thing, how much power or how much current we're drawing, let's key it up and give it a little audio here. Hello, audio, hello, audio, audio. So over 3/4 of an amp. Current draw there, almost 0.8. That being said, we still have plenty of headroom on these tubes. 500Z, maximum output, maximum rating is half an amp each tube. They can draw they can draw half an amp each tube. That'll be maximum output. So we're well under that. So our amp still has plenty of headroom there. Because I know when I show the output on this thing, someone's going to be in the comment section. They're going to be like, "Oh, you drive it like that, you're killing the tubes. You're overdriving it." Okay. Not here to debate, but I've had, again, like I said in the Heathkit video, I've had 500Z boxes from 1500Z to 6, and I can tell you where they start having trouble and where they're safe to run, and this is a very safe number to run this amp at. As far as what we're driving into it, I've been using this guy as a driver along with this Cobra 89, and it's doing about 300 watts or so PEP, and I think about 100 watts average, give or take. So, again, I think we could probably hit this amp a little bit harder if you wanted to, but that's kind of where I would run it. And if I kept it for myself, that's the most I would run into it. But let's see if we can check this guy out, and hopefully our little RM Italy bass driver here won't go into protection on us, because like I said before, when you audio into it, sometimes it'll try to kick in protection. That's a 5,000 watt slug in there, by the way. I know you guys can't really see that. It's a little blurry. But if I can hold my hand up here, we'll get a reading. Middle scale, this is going to be average power first. It's 1,000 watts average. With a 500 watt dead key. That's 500 watts each tube on average. This is going to be your PEP or peak power. Hello, check, audio 1 2, audio 1 2, audio 1 2, check. 3,000 PEP. So that's what she does, and that is that's the max I would run it at. Now, could you wind it up and get some more out of it? Yeah, actually probably about 1,200 watts average, and close to probably 3,500 PEP would be max output out of it. But this thing will cruise all day long at 2,000 watts or so PEP. It'll cruise all day long at 2,500, and I don't foresee you having any trouble running at 3 kW. Okay, that's just me. Now, to each their own, you got to use your best judgment. But really, like I said, it comes back to how much current it's drawing. You know, obviously, if we were pinging the meter off the wall, we'd know we were overdriving it. By the way, this is your grid current meter over here. Same goes for it. Check, audio, check. Audio, check. Audio, check. Audio, check. Audio. Both of those are well within tolerance. And for the people that are more sophisticated than most of us, some people don't even use a watt meter to tune their amp. They'll use the plate current meter and the grid current meter, and that's how they tune. But honestly, tuning for maximum output will get you right around the same ballpark as tuning for grid current and tuning for plate current. But that's it, everybody. A really nice Ameritron AL82. It is for sale, but it's not on sale. So it's one of those, you know, I did buy it with the intentions of selling it, but it's like, if it doesn't sell, then I definitely have a place for it. I'm 500Z amp poor right now. I've got three single tube 500Zs, three single tube 500Zs, 3 2-tube 500Zs, and I've got my 4-tube 500Z. So I got a lot of 500Z amps right now, but I don't mind. To me, you can never have too many of them. That's it, everybody. Thank you. Rooster N10, roostercb.com. Local pickup only, but I will list it on the website so you guys can see the price. Thank you. See you. Bye.